So I know that the title of this class is like a little bit, again, intriguing for people because it's something that people want to know, right? A lot of us are short on staff, short on resources, but I'm going to share with you really a tool today to help you see that you could get jobs done and be productive even when you don't have all the staff that you need. And we're going to do it for free, okay? So when we face challenges, more often than not, we go into a bad place. And I know like that was like my go-to before I learned a lot of these techniques. And like you go start like almost like, what in the world am I supposed to do? Like things start seeming impossible. And we might even know that there's a solution, but we don't know how to find it. And when you have the right tools to be able to do that and to innovate on demand and find solutions, it becomes a game changer. And not even that, your challenges actually become exciting because it's like, ooh, now I have something to solve, and you have the tools to be able to do it. So it's kind of fun. Like I would say in the Jewish world, like anytime something happened, my only tool that I used to have was to say Baruch Hashem. Like that's all I knew. But and it's still true. But now I'm like, not even that, but now I really have the tools to be able to overcome those challenges. So it's very exciting. And today I'm going to share one of those tools with you. So we're going to get started. Okay, so my name is Meira Spivak. I work full-time in nonprofit. I primarily focus on management, fundraising, staff development, different projects like that. I run a business where I help for and not-for-profits reach goals effectively so they can save a lot of time and a lot of money and produce results. And then I guess the most relevant piece here for today is I'm also a trained facilitator in a method called SIT, or systematic inventive thinking. And I'm going to tell you about that today. And I actually know, and I'm trained how to innovate on demand, and I can train other people how to do that and to solve their problems quickly. So I'm excited. Thank you for anybody who's joined. So what are we going to accomplish today? Okay, so what we're going to do is, number one, I'm going to share with you a little bit about SIT, or systematic inventive thinking, and how it works. I'm going to teach you how to accomplish tasks when you're short on staff. I'm going to show you how to do that, or when you have limited resources in general. And so I'm going to assume, is this correct? That even if we just learned that, we'd be happy if we were here. Is that a yes? Like we'd feel good about that. Okay. But also after that, I'm also going to, we're going to brainstorm, we're going to workshop a little bit together to see if we could really use that and practice that. And then I'll share with you just how I can help you with the process in general. And this class hopefully will be a taste of what SIT is and what it could help you with. And it doesn't matter if you've done this before or if you've used any system until now. With the right tools, in just a few years, like really in a year, looking back, if you like get these tools and you understand them, you make them your own, you're going to be in a dramatically different place in just like a short amount of time. And it's very exciting. So are we ready to get started? Yes. Awesome. Okay, great. Okay. So what is SIT? So it stands for systematic inventive thinking. And basically the idea is that if you follow certain patterns, as opposed to doing things randomly, if you follow patterns and templates, that's actually the best way to be creative. And when we look at most inventions that are around today, they're actually, they are invented using one of these 5 patterns. But it's funny because most of us, when we try to invent things and to be creative, we try to do things randomly, right? And it's like in SIT, we try to follow templates, and it seems so funny. Like, doesn't that restrictive? Like, I have to follow this. Creativity is this like free flow of ideas. Like, you want to limit what I'm thinking about in order for me to be creative. It doesn't make sense. So we think, again, I got to be out there, but no, SIT tells us we actually have to be narrow. And if you think about it, if you've ever read like a detective novel, one of these books, right? It's like they all follow a pattern. There's a crime, and then someone solves it, and then they live happily ever after. There's always this template, but they're not boring. It's not like you read a detective novel and you're like, I can't believe there's a crime again. That's so boring. Like, there's going to be a crime. Someone's going to solve it, right? You're going to have a song. There's going to be the beginning. Then there's going to be the chorus. No one says, I can't believe that there's a chorus in a song. It's so boring. No. They have a template of a song, the first part, the chorus, and then they innovate within the structure. So what SIT does is tells us it's actually it's counterintuitive. The more restrictive that we are, the more creative that we're going to be. And when we constrain our minds, the more we limit our options, the more creative that we're going to be. We're forcing ourselves to limit our options. Again, it's very different than the way we normally think about things. We normally think, and we'll talk about that. Think out of the box, right? Like, think of anything, just think. No. Don't just think about anything. Don't let your brain just go anywhere. Don't just sit and take a walk and let your mind wander. It's the opposite. Let's force ourselves to be so narrow that we're going to have to be innovative. Okay, so these are the 5 templates. Okay, they're subtraction, multiplication, division, attribute dependency, and task unification. We're going to be focusing today on task unification, but each of them are a different method that we use to solve different challenges. I know, because I've done this so many times, which one to use like this, what we use to solve which problems. A different time we could talk about why addition isn't on here, but I really want to stay focused today so we're going to get to accomplish and learn about the things that you want to learn about. But it's funny, people think I don't really need a system. I've thought of ideas they come to me in the middle of the night. I just wake up and I just think of them. And you know what? If that works for you, that's terrific. But honestly, it's not so efficient to wait for a dream in the middle of the night that you wake up in a cold sweat, right? Or you're just I don't know, on the beach. It's great if it works, but it's not efficient. And sometimes people also tell me another thing is I don't need this because, sometimes I even make things by mistake. It just happens. I didn't even plan to, and somehow I came up with these ideas. And again, it's true. The sticky note was invented by mistake. They meant to make a strong tape. And it was oh, this tape isn't strong. Why would we need tape that's not strong? Who would want tape that's not strong? And it was oh, a sticky note, that would be great. Or basketball, the sport, was invented by mistake. Somebody hung up baskets of fruit, fruit baskets on the wall. There was even a bottom, and the boys would just throw it in the gym class, throw the ball, and then they would take the ball out until one day the bottom broke through. And suddenly they had it. The ball came through and wait, this is a great game. So if you want to sit there and wait till you have a dream in the middle of the night, that's great. And if you want to wait till you make something up by mistake, that's also great. It's just not efficient. So I'm going to teach you an efficient method. And now I'm going to share with you one prereq that you need to know to understand how this works. So the concept is called the closed world. And the idea is that we need to think inside the box when we want to innovate, as opposed to out of the box. So when people talk about thinking out of the box, they just mean let your mind go anywhere. So, but in SIT, we think inside the box. We need to create a box. Remember, we have to restrict our minds. We have to restrain ourselves, constrain our brain. We actually need to create an imaginary box and say that wherever we're going to find a solution, it's going to be within this box. We need to limit our options. So what we do is we say, instead of having an idea and saying, think anywhere, we're actually going to limit our options. We're going to create a box and say, let's give ourselves a budget. Let's give ourselves an option of time. Let's give ourselves a limit of resources. And the more we do that, however small that box is, that's going to help us be creative. And a lot of time business leaders, we're trying to think of ideas. A lot of times we get stuck here because we're trying to look outside. We're so trained to look outside for solutions, but the closer, okay, and just listen to me now, the closer the solution is to you, the more innovative it's going to be. When you get an entertainer outside for your business holiday party, it's nice. It's not innovative. When you find something to do with your staff and everybody works on a team, it's going to be a more innovative solution. When I have locks on my door in my house, they have these little, in the bedroom doors, and they just have a little hole in it. When I lost the key that it came with, I could go to Home Depot and buy more keys, or I could just grab something from my house, like skewer, a wire hanger they love to use. Just going to grab something. If it's closer to you, it's just a more innovative solution. So I'm sure, I don't actually know, but many of you might be familiar with a movie that came out, Apollo 13. I don't know, I remember I was in high school or something when it came out, but about a spaceship that was about to crash. And I'm going to share with you just a short clip from this movie to really hone in on how we see this concept of thinking inside the box. So I'm going to play this for you now, and I hope that this will be very be clear for you.
Gene, we have a situation brewing with the carbon dioxide.
We had a CO2 filter problem on the lunar module.
5 filters on the limb.
Which were meant for 2 guys for a day and a half. So I told the doc.
You're already up to 8 on the gauges. Anything over 15 and you get impaired judgment, blackouts, the beginnings of brain asphyxia.
What about the scrubbers on the command module?
They take square cartridges.
The ones on the limb are round.
Tell me this isn't a government operation.
This just isn't a contingency we've remotely looked at.
Those CO2 levels are going to be getting toxic.
Well, I suggest you gentlemen invent a way to put a square peg in a round hole. Rapidly.
Okay, people, listen up. People upstairs handed us this one, and we gotta come through. We gotta find a way to make this fit into the hole for this, using nothing but that. Let's get it organized.
Okay, let's build a filter.
Better get some coffee going, too, someone.
Okay, so what happens? They're in the spaceship, it's about to crash, and the controllers down there are trying to figure out a way for them to literally save themselves from crashing. But the only tools that they could use what was inside of that spaceship. They had to come up with a solution that was only from within their closed world. Their closed world was their spaceship. Would it help if they would have said, hey, can you call, AAA and see if no. They were forced to come up with a solution that was right next to them. But you know what? It was innovative. And they were able to do it because it was inside, it was closer to them. So what we're going to encourage you to do is, as you face challenges, stop looking at who can I call to help. I want you to look right in front of you, because the closer your solution is to you, the more it is located inside your closed world, whether that's in your office, in your entire company, or just in your room or in your house. The closer your solution is to you, the more innovative and creative it's going to be. If anyone has any questions, please stop me. Otherwise, we're going to start going. But I want to just dig into the problem a little bit that we're facing. So I'm show of hands. I mean, I guess how many people have struggled from a lack of staff? Like a lot, like maybe a lack of something. Other people are not showing up. They're quitting. They're, that day that if you're a principal, right? Like the teachers didn't show. I mean, something's going to go on that there's just not enough people. You don't have enough. So this is like a very common problem that a lot of us face. But the one thing that I'm going to be teaching you is really how to alleviate your problems very quickly. I'm not going to be able to get you staff. Okay. That is not what I'm going to be doing on this call. I'm not going to, I'm not a staffing company, and I'm not going to do that. I actually can teach you probably how to do that in another workshop, but that's not for today. Okay. I'm going to just teach you how to still accomplish when you are lacking in one way or another. Now, people think that this is very hard to do, but it's not. It's very easy, and I'm going to show you how. And it's fun, and I like to make things simple. So when, it's funny, when people bring me to their schools or to their businesses, I actually show them how each of these SITs are easy. They're really easy to implement. Okay. So it's not hard. A lot of people think it's expensive. First of all, this is literally free, but in general, I teach the whole thing in a day. It's really not hard, and it's not expensive. And the other piece is that people think it takes a lot of time to implement, and you're going to see that it's really quick. And that is the most exciting part about it. Okay. So are we ready? Are we ready to start? I'm going to share with you. Awesome. We're going to start right now, and we're going to start with task unification. Okay. So what is task unification? Task unification is the template that helps us to assign an additional task to an existing component. And I'm going to speak about what that is. And if you see in the picture, right, we have a bench that is not only a bench, but it is also an advertisement. So Thomas Edison had a gate in front of his house, and it was hard to push open. Now, the legend tells us, okay, that it was attached to a water pump. And every time guests came to his house and they pushed the door open, they were actually pushing fresh water. They were pumping it into the house. So he had a gate, and Thomas Edison asked himself, what other job can I give to the gate? And guess what that was? That was the gate. That was the job of pushing the water. So the gate had an additional job. And guess who else had two jobs? The guests. And they didn't even know it. They weren't just guests. They were the people that were pushing water into his house. He looked at the resources around him and said, what other job can I give them? He gave another resource to the gate, another job to the gate, and he gave another job to the guests. So when we talk about components, and this is really important, okay, whenever we innovate, we're going to talk about the word components. And that means what do we have? So if I'm if I'm in a school, okay, and I'm like, what do I have? So what are my components? Well, I have the teachers, I have the desks, I have the students, I have the lights, I have the janitor, I have the parents. I mean, you want to start listing. When you think of components, you want to think of every single thing. When you're in an office, okay, so you have your employees, you have the place that you rent, you might have your clients. You want to think of every single possible piece of that or a component. And it's very important. And we're gonna practice this. We're gonna exhaust our entire list, because a lot of times we don't realize the list, the people that we have in front of us, we don't even realize that they are a resource. So I'm going to talk about two kinds of components. Okay. There's your internal components and your external components. So what's internal? Your internal is like, again, if let's say we're innovating the refrigerator. So the internal components would be like what's literally inside of a refrigerator. There's the compressor, the shelves. Those are the internal components. What's inside of it that we could work with? The internal components of a school, right, might be the teachers and it might be the students. And then when we talk about external components, we talk about things that are outside, but they're somewhat still relevant. It's like the person who's using the refrigerator, maybe your friend who owns a similar business, things that are around you, they're still relevant to you, but they're not inside. When we have a cup of coffee, internal components is going to be we have a cup, right? So like the coffee inside, the handle, the base. The external components is going to be the person using it, maybe the table that it's on. But it's very important that when we go through what our components are, we list all of these things. And when you're short staffed and you don't have enough money, you're going to take every single component and you're going to see which one can we give an additional job to. So if they have a bench and they say, what additional job we can give it? And now suddenly it's a marketing tool. That's task unification. And I'm going to share with you 3 cool examples that you're going to be like, wow, I get it. Okay. So here's examples. I'm not going to teach you all the principles. I'm just going to show you the examples so you understand the principles. And I'm going to make it really simple. Okay. I'm just going to talk about Waze for a minute. Think about Waze. Okay. Many of us use Waze. It's a traffic device, right? It helps us get out of traffic in the car. Think about this. If you're a Waze developer and you are making an app to check traffic, you're responsible to report the traffic to the users. But the Waze app developers said that's not possible. How are we going to track traffic everywhere? When they listed their components, they saw who are the components of our app. So they knew maybe the developers, right? Maybe the technology. And they said, who are the external components? Who do we have around? And they said the users. And guess what they did? They gave the users of the app the job of checking the traffic. It's genius. There's an app that's developed and we do the work for them. They didn't have the manpower to check traffic, so they gave the job to someone else, and that's us. By the way, when the App Store opened, they didn't want to hire developers to develop all the apps. So guess what they did? They allow us to develop apps, and then we pay them to use them and promote them. They gave the job to somebody else. It is so smart, but they did it using task unification. Okay, if you're familiar, there's a show, Sweeney Todd. Okay, when this show originally came out, there's a lot of different parts. Okay, there's a lot of this musicians, and there was an orchestra. They had 26 people. But when they started they realized they don't have money to continue like this. They can't have these plays with all these actors and musicians. So you know what the guy did? When he came, he said, I have an idea. Instead of just doing this, why can't we give the job of either performing or acting? Why don't we give it to the same people? And you know what? When they came out, when the new version came out and was traveling, they cut the cast to just a few performers you're not just a performer now, you're also the orchestra. They didn't want to pay for an orchestra and performers. So they gave the performers the job of being the orchestra. Save yourself money. You don't have to keep hiring more people. Sometimes the people right in front of you have other talents. Oh, sorry about that. I'm gonna reshare for a second. Okay. The Nike shoe. Okay. This I don't think this made it, but it's pretty cool. If you're an athlete and you want to track how fast you're going, okay. So we have all the watches, right? But just a few years ago, before all the Fitbits and everything came out, Nike actually invented a shoe where the tracker was inside the shoe, and the shoe actually tracked how fast you ran. Instead of saying, let's find someone else to track it, they gave the job to the shoe. You don't only have to look for people, you could look for the bench. This car has a horn, okay, that honks when you are filling up your tire with pressure and you're not sure if it's full. The horn honks. They gave an additional job to the horn of the car to notify you when your car is full of air. It's genius. We don't have to keep buying more things and developing more products. The tools right around you are the ones that could help you solve your problems. Okay, so how do we use SIT? And we're going to do this, it looks similar when we're using all the different SIT components, if you want to learn more. So this template is going to be a little bit familiar, but what we do is, number one, we define the closed world. Where do we want to look for our solutions? Do I want to start calling all my external components and my random contacts? Do I only want to solve the problem from the existing teachers in the school? Where is my closed world? Do I only want to look inside of my office and on my desk? After I decide what my closed world is, I'm going to list all my internal and external components. I'm physically going to list them. I'm going to visualize. So then I'm going to do this. I'm going to list them. Then I'm going to take one of these components and I'm going to say, can they do this job that I need? So I need someone, I don't have, my teacher didn't show up today and I need someone to give a test to the students, or, I'm trying to get this client and I just need someone else to get this done. And you make a list of all these components and then you link and you go through and you say, could any of these do this job? And some of them are going to seem funny. You're going to visualize, what would it look like if the janitor proctored your test? And you're going to say, should we do this? Is this a good idea? And if it is, you're going to say, can we do it? Like, can we even pull this off? If the answer is no, so then move on to the next component. If it's, there's potential here, this doesn't make sense, but maybe we could tweak this. Then you hold on, you put on the side and you go back to it. But a lot of times, I never would have thought to use the horn in the car for a job. I never would have thought to use the park bench. I never would have use the walls in my office. I never would have thought to use the janitor. But maybe for some things, I can. So this is the template that we do. Again, define our closed world, list the components, select one of the components and give them the job. Imagine this new product. And then ask yourself, is this a good idea? So we're going to get practical here. Okay, I'm going to go back. We're going to get practical here, and we're going to do an exercise, okay, which I need everyone's going to be involved, okay? So if you don't have your screen on, it's fine, but you're going to be put in breakout rooms. So I'm going to try to get everybody in breakout rooms. And what we're going to do is we're going to play a game. It's called How to Get Your Customers to Stay in the Store for Longer. So imagine you are a supermarket and you have a problem because you are trying, that the longer the customers stay in your store, the more you're going to sell to them. So you have a challenge. Okay, great. So now you say, I know what I'm going to do. My closed world, I got to keep them longer. My closed world is my supermarket-ish area. Okay. So now I'm going to make a list of all my components and I'm going to see, can any of the components that I have in my store or near my store, can any of those components help me to keep customers in the store for longer? Okay, does everyone understand what I'm asking you to do? Yes, okay, I'm going to repeat just in case. Okay, so we're going to try to get our customers to go and stay in our store and be there for longer we're not calling a marketing company. We're not doing any of that. The only thing that we're doing is we're using the components that we had to stay in our store for longer. Okay, so I'm going to attempt, and hold on one second. Are we okay? Are we comfortable with people turning on their screen? And maybe we could just do this together. Are we comfortable? Could everyone turn on, if any more people could turn on their screen, this would be super helpful. Awesome. Thank you so much. Anybody here? Thank you. Awesome. Great. If you can, we're going to do this exercise. We're just going to do it together. I think it'll be more efficient for time. we're going to together make a component list, and I'm going to teach you how to do this now. And then I'm going to just give everybody a job, and we're going to tackle this, and we're going to solve this problem. Okay. So you own a supermarket, and you're going to get people to try to stay in their store for longer. So let's together just shout it out. I'm going to write it down. I'll even put in the chat. Okay. What are the components of a supermarket? So if anybody could list any of them, we're going to go. Somebody tell me what they are.
Shopping carts.
Shopping carts. Good. What else?
Shelves.
Shelves. Good. What else?
Food.
Refrigerators.
Food. I'm going to spell this wrong.
Fridges. Just put fridge. Freezers.
Okay. Freezers. What else?
Register.
Staff. Register.
Courtesy desk.
Like a help, customer service desk.
Customer service.
Food, groceries.
Food and, oh, someone wrote music. Oh, yeah, you put it in the chat. Awesome. Food, music. Good. What else?
Household supplies.
Yes. Household supplies to put in your store. Good. What else?
Flowers. Greeting
What was
cards.
What did you say?
Flowers. Greeting cards.
Okay, let's not go too specific because we're going to name everything. But yes, if I wanted to exhaust, by the way, if I really wanted to do this, I could literally be like pencils, pens, scissors. Okay, good. A cafe. What else? What else do we have in a store? Good. A restaurant we could have in the store. Awesome. What else? You're missing basic, guys. Come on. Let's go basic stuff. What do we have? Look around. I want everything. I want like we said, music. I want like literally every part of the store. What else do we have?
Samples.
Samples. Good. Food tasting. Great. What else? Excellent.
Aisles.
Aisles. Love it. Good. Aisles.
I
Amazing.
said tiles, but aisles too.
Oh, you mean tiles on the floor?
Yeah, the color of the tile.
Okay, good. All right, floor tile. Parking. Thank you. What else? And by the way, if you've noticed, we've listed internal components. Tiles, parking is external components. It's like part of the store. It's outside. It's not in the store, but it's still connected. And that's really good. Signs and ads. Thank you, Alana. Yes, great. Anything else? What else do we have in the store?
Windows.
Windows. You think I'm joking, but this is really, I think I actually just sent that directly and not to everybody. Hold on. Okay, so we have windows. We have signs.
Conditioning.
What was that?
Air conditioning.
Thank you. And also I want to say the reason why I'm doing this is we could have just said like, okay, we got shopping carts and customers and whatever. But the more you exhaust this list, you're going to start thinking of ideas that you never thought of. Okay. So give me one more.
Freshly squeezed the juice things.
Okay. I've actually heard I'll tell you after I share some innovative ideas people had. Okay. What we're going to do now is everyone's going to pick one component. Okay. It doesn't matter if you pick the same thing, but everyone just pick one. In another class, if I give you, there's other classes that I run and that I do, but where I actually teach you how to brainstorm properly. It's for another day. But just so you know, whenever we brainstorm, we only get 3 minutes. People think the more time you have, the better. But remember, we're applying constraints. The less you have, the better. We're going to force ourselves to be creative by only giving ourselves 3 minutes. Okay. Which is why when I run brainstorming sessions, they're really fast. Okay. Because I don't give people time to like sit there all day. So I'm giving you 3 minutes. I'm going to just watch the clock. You have 3 minutes to choose one of them and say, how can we use this item to keep customers in the store for longer? Okay. Go.
Make different color tiles.
No. Don't call it out. You're going to write it down, and then we're going to share them after. Okay. So write down a list of literally how you can use this one item in, I don't care, 1 way, 5 ways, 10 ways, whatever you can do, use that to keep customers in the store for longer. That is your goal. And you're going to use one of your components to solve your problem for you. 45 more seconds. You know, the reason why this is actually so impactful is because also if you're in an office and you have this challenge and you actually take the component list and you divide it up amongst people and you're all doing this at the same time, you're literally like in 3 minutes, like you have 30 different ideas and it's really, really fast. So I'm going to ask you, we're going to just go through as many people as could share. Tell us what component you picked and how you can use that component to keep everyone in the store for longer. Okay? So who wants to go first?
I
Okay.
can,
Awesome. Thanks. Jaco.
using different color tiles to lead people on the path to the store.
1 second. Who's speaking now?
Me?
Oh, hi. Sorry. All right. Sorry. Okay. Thank you so much. Okay. Sorry. You had the colored tiles on the floor?
Yeah, and
Okay,
to lead
great.
people through the aisles. Should I share a few ideas or I should
Yeah,
just do
everything.
one?
Everything.
To have, I mean, there's the classic ideas of putting different items in the back to force people to walk there that they use nowadays. To block the windows so they don't see the time, slow music, cooler air. I mean, I think these are actually things that are done already.
What do you see? How are you using the tiles for cooler air? I lost you.
Oh no, the AC. Oh, I
Okay,
should just use one item and then.
One item, lots of
Oh, I
solutions.
totally missed that. Okay,
Okay.
I had a lot of different
I'm gonna
items.
come back to you.
Okay.
Because like the reason why it's important is
Not a
because,
problem.
no, but I'll tell you why. It's important. A lot of us go like, okay, I got it. The most innovative idea usually comes after the third or fourth. So you want to force yourself when you're sitting there and you're like, oh my gosh, like just keep going. That annoying like time of like, I think I got it. Like push yourself for one more. Okay. So I will come back to you. Who else Dan, you want to go?
Using a larger shopping cart.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So that's great. So it's not just a regular shopping cart. You're going to give them a bigger shopping cart because then they're going to buy more things to fill it up.
Right.
Okay, good. Anything else you have on the shopping cart? How else could we use the shopping cart?
You could, well, on the shopping cart itself, whether or not you allow children to ride on the cart or not, or making the carts more amusement-like, where the cart is actually a race car or a boat, so your kids hang on there and they want to have fun.
Awesome, right? There's so many different things. Even like if you think about like, you know, sometimes we see the ads on the car. I actually ran this workshop once and somebody suggested you turn the wheels on the cart to go extra slow. So people have to walk slowly through your store. Now, remember, SIT teaches us that not every idea is a good idea. Okay. It doesn't mean you're going to make your cars go really slow. But it doesn't matter because it's going to get your juices flowing. It doesn't mean we're going to use all these ideas. But not okay. I see a hand raised. What's your first name?
Rachel, sorry.
Rachel. Okay, great. Rachel.
Yeah, I actually took an SIT class like years ago. So this is bringing out.
Oh, who did you take it with?
memories.
Okay, we'll do this later.
I took it in Stern, like online.
Oh, amazing. Okay, yeah.
But I was thinking, because I've seen this like on online ordering websites for groceries, but by the sign where like the item is, maybe just like put a QR code there where you could scan it and it could tell you like, let's say it's pasta, like, and you have a QR code next to it, scan that QR code and it comes up with like a list of recipes, like, hey, what can I make with this? And then it sends you on, number one, you're just sitting there looking at the possibilities, but then it sends you like on kind of a goose chase to go get all of the other ingredients. And
wow, I love that. That's awesome. Okay, great. What was your item that you had?
The signs.
You had the signs. Okay, so the signs are gonna have QR codes to take you through the store, to take you to recipes, take you to their website. That's great. Awesome. Anything else you had on that?
I was thinking like maybe just like on the sign, like, hey, what can like in this aisle, hey, what can I make with things in this aisle? Like every aisle having a sign with like meal prep ideas. But I like the QR code thing better. So
that's great. That's great.
I went to that.
Okay, sorry. And Jacob, I think that you had your hand raised before.
Yeah. So I mean it's similar, but where you place items in the store. So let's say the most common things that people come in for, let's say milk, put like all the way in the back, so people have to walk through the whole thing.
Great.
Or figure out things that are commonly bought together and put them at opposite sides.
peanut butter on one end and jelly on
Right,
the
right.
bananas, fruits on one end of the store and vegetables on the other. It's actually, but it's funny, but it's actually a good idea if that was your goal, right? If your goal was to do that, that would be innovative. We all think fruit and vegetables have to be together, but
Right.
well, it doesn't have to be,
It
right?
probably has to do with refrigeration why they have to be together. I know there's a science to having fruit right when you come in. Milk usually is in the back.
Yeah, they want you to walk to the back. So is the bread, right? Sometimes
Right.
that's like the last
Yeah,
aisle of the store. Okay, great. Ezzy, did you have something? No? Okay, what about Ryan?
So I was thinking a little bit about shopping carts. And the one thing I was thinking, you often see advertising on shopping carts, but what if there are QR codes for other items in the store where you can get discounts? So essentially you click on the QR code and then you have to go around finding the item if you're interested in looking for that. And add to that, you get an automatic discount. Again, it's a discount code.
Coupon or
So,
something.
So yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. Awesome. Okay, so, but I just want you to understand the whole point of this, right? So like, imagine you're a supermarket and you're like, I need to get more customers. They got to stay in here for longer. We need another way. But your only go-to is like, well, we should call a marketing company. We should call, you don't have to do that. You don't always have to look outside. When you look inside the box, that's when you're going to generate the most innovative ideas. Now, again, does that mean I'm going to make my shopping carts go like squeakily, annoyingly slow? It doesn't mean that. And does that mean that maybe I'm going to take my aisles and make them so narrow that only one person can go through at a time? Like, no, that's also maybe too annoying that people are not going to want that. But as somebody once suggested, am I going to put slot machines in the bathrooms to get people to stay in the store for longer? Again, I don't know if I'm going to do that either. But the bathroom is a component we didn't list. And even the signs, we think about signs, but the signs in the parking lot and the mailbox and the recycling things outside, like there's lots of components of things that we just don't think of using. Again, if I'm in a school, right? It doesn't mean that a lot of times we think, oh, we're short on a teacher. Like, what are we going to, so like, is it possible to have a student get up and, lead something? Now, again, a student is not taking the place of a teacher. But just going through this idea might start us with a student leadership program where we have students who are like, even at younger grades, who are already like, I don't know, having a teacher with a mentor and getting paired up in a leadership program. Like instead of nixing ideas, saying, oh, this is good. Maybe it's not even good for this, but what is it good for? And now we have a shopping cart that's doing all these things. And the sound system in the store is telling us to keep running across the store, to go to different ads, to go to different sales. It just helping us by looking around, making those lists. But again, please make sure you make a real list, because if I would have just stopped and said customers, food, staff, and shopping carts, I wouldn't have dimmed the lighting maybe, and I wouldn't have put a QR code on the products because I didn't think of the signs, and I wouldn't have a sign on the window, and by the way, this is a big one. A lot of times people are saying, I need to get more clients. And how many more clients? Well, I got to get a marketer. I got to get this. Maybe, but if we looked at our components and we listed and we said, what do we have? Who do we have already? And then saying, oh, our clients are ready. Maybe we can use our clients right now to get new clients. Instead of always looking outside, look inside, look at what you already have. And that's going to help you to solve problems at a much more practical way. And, of course, if you need help with this, obviously just reach out. Like sometimes it's hard to do by yourself, but you see how easy it is to make this list. Like you didn't need me to make the list. Like you could do that because you know your business in the best way possible. It's funny, like, because I teach SIT. So like the reason why learning SIT, by the way, is so important. Like this was just like one of the templates, and it's simple, but it's so practical. Problem is people don't always know which ones to use and how it can help solve their problems. But you don't have to be like born creative. You just have to follow the steps and you can innovate solutions every single time, right? You can use SIT to figure out new ways to recruit more staff, right? That is going to be also a different workshop, but you can use it for that. How to raise capital when you don't have a budget, how to get employees to stop eating all the food in your snack room, whatever you want, how to figure out new ways to charge for products. And by the way, this SIT is taught in all the the biggest business schools around the world, Hong Kong, London, Columbia, everyone's teaching SIT. We now have an app that's developed to be able to do this simply, that when you put in your product, it'll start listing components for you. You don't even have to do the work. So like, because of AI, we're like so ahead of the game that there's really an app that's done to make it so efficient for like business members and teams to be able to use this so quickly. But every like challenge like really could benefit from using SIT. Like now you might be running brainstorming sessions. Let's say you have a challenge in your office, you sit down and you sit around and it's like, think out of the box. And that's what you do. But it's just frustrating when you don't have these solutions, and it doesn't have to be this way. Like there are templates out there that teach you how to generate solutions every single time. And it's just, again, it becomes so efficient. So what did I say that we're going to accomplish today, right? You're going to learn about what SIT is, how it works, obviously on a small scale, because we can't do the whole thing today. I'm going to help you, see how you're going to accomplish tasks, even when you don't necessarily have all the resources that you think that you do, right? We workshop together, just a little cute activity in the supermarket. But I said I'm going to share with you again how I help you in the process, and I think we've done that. I'm going to leave time for questions now, but if you want to talk further, like reach out for a call. And when you do, I'm going to hear about your challenges. We could discuss like a custom game plan for you. Maybe you just need to learn a few of the innovation techniques just to be able to you have these at your fingertips when you need them. Or maybe you just need a few like structuring tweaks, and that's what it is. But my goal is to help you achieve results as quickly as possible. That's why people refer me, because I only care about getting you the results that you want quickly. So just, again, reach out to me if you want to book a call, and I'm going to put my contact in the chat, but I purposely stopped. I'm going to stop a little bit early because I do want to take questions, and I want to see if there's a way that if you have specific things, like not sure how to apply this, tell me how I could be helpful in terms of just getting you, like if you have a problem now, if you want to troubleshoot, we could do that together. Just left a little bit of time for that.
Hi, Mira, I actually have a question.
Sure.
So one of the things from my experience in the not-for-profit world, specifically on the fundraising side, both as a professional in the fundraising world and then now as a consultant in the fundraising world, one of the things that I've noticed that really a lot of not-for-profits do from a staffing perspective is they'll often give, they find the most competent staff member and they pile everything on that staff member, because that staff member typically is somebody who knows how to handle a lot of pressure and a lot of stuff. The problem is obviously that a lot of them burn out, and it's not really a great, use of resources. You got to, think very, very carefully before you do such a thing. But again, so many not-for-profits do it because they really are very, very lean. How would you propose utilizing staff, looking at them from an SIT perspective and saying, this is how we can use them, but we've also got to be careful not to overuse them, running the risk of potentially burning them out, and then they walk.
It's a really good question. The first thing to do is you want to make a list of the jobs that need to get done, because a lot of times we group everything together. Like this guy's in charge of like recruitment. Okay, recruitment is a very big word, right? Recruitment of adults, teens, families, to fundraisers, to events, to and like everything is just grouped together. And division is one of the techniques of SIT, but trying to divide one item into separate jobs. So once we get a list of like all the jobs that need to get done, then we start looking and saying, who can do this? And our go-to is this really capable person, but we can't be that way. And sometimes we need to say, who else can do that job, or what else, right? Can it be the wall, or can it be another staff member? If it's another staff member, a lot of times people go, oh, that guy, he's not going to be as good. I'm going to teach you now the key question to be able to see challenges as opportunities. I do this usually in my longer courses, but to understand this, whenever you have an idea, there's someone that's going to say, no, that's bad. That's a bad idea. That's not going to work. Now, I was always that person. That's why I know that. I'm like the most negative. Like I can tell you why every idea is bad. Okay. I'm professional at that. If you need anyone to do that, I'm great. So they have these ideas and someone will be like, no, that's not a good idea. That guy's not going to be good. That's the first response. Like, no, he's not the right person. I want you to answer this question back. What are the benefits of using him? What are the benefits of giving her that job? And I want you, if you could force them to go through that activity, the reason why is because if they could get it to this, so what happens? They go, oh, there's nothing good about it. Just tell me what would be good about it. well, let's practice this now. So I would say, okay, what would be good about it? Well, I mean, I get it would take a lot off this other person's plate. And I mean, I guess we could probably pay him less to do the job because he's really not experienced. And the truth is, like, now that you think about it, he does have an open hour, like from 9 to 10, that he really could work on that every day for an hour. And then by the time you're done, you're like, this isn't such a bad idea. But we're so stuck and closed to these new ideas that we can't get past it. So the first thing is you say, what are the benefits of this idea? If you could do that. Now, again, our tendency is like, there's a question is like, what do we do now? The guy's burnt out. How do we help? So we have to like take jobs off of them. But it's really trying to just, again, check. I mean, there's a lot of material here. There's the staff management piece. One of the other things I train people on is OKRs, is like setting goals and reaching them. But it's a method that keeps the staff very healthy, knowing exactly what they need to do to be successful and not having more work than they can handle. So it could be part of it is that they're not setting up the job properly. But again, if there is a job it's too many pieces and you need to divide it up, you ask yourself, who else can do it? And if you work for yourself, it could be your spouse, right? Like, it doesn't even mean that you have to hire someone to do one of these jobs. Maybe that's, or your cousin or your child. It could be you could turn to someone like that and give them a job, or your neighbor that owes you a favor. It doesn't always have to be, right? Like in the school, or was it teachers? What resources do we have from parents? Right? Just because, okay, this guy's a doctor. Okay. But there are people that have certain skills and we need to utilize them. So really just to ask yourself, who else, dividing up the jobs, and literally, if you can only do this if you have a component list, job list, component list, and see what we can match up. Then they're going to go, that's a bad idea. What are the benefits? Oh, that's not so bad. Why don't we just try it with one thing and see how it goes? And then if they're open to this, then they're going to start being open to more things. Was that helpful, Ryan? Yeah. Okay, great. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, sure. Who else? Anyone else? And again, SIT, again, this is just a tool that you could use. Task unification is the tool that we use when we are short on resources and where we have too many jobs and we have no one to do them. When you're having a dinner, you're running an event, you're having, whatever, it could be day to day, and you can't afford or you don't have the resources to hire more staff. I actually live, some of you know where I live, some of you don't. I live in Portland, Oregon. Okay. Portland, Oregon is a community with a lot of resources in certain areas and a lack of resources in other areas. And for me, staffing is the biggest challenge. And especially, in this crowd, right? Like, I'm looking to hire, I work in a nonprofit, I'm looking to hire, more Jewish people to help in this area. And we don't have that. And I need to be super innovative. And that means I might need to make a list of like literally every person that I know to see who can I give a job. Can this person do something? I never would have thought this person, but can they? I don't know, but you know what? I don't have a choice. Like, I have to use task unification every day because I am so limited in my resources. Next year, right now, as it stands, I have 0 staff to work under me. And I have to hire, and I don't have that right now. I'm going to fly. I'm flying people in. They're working remotely. I'm trying this. I have to be innovative, but I'm able to do that because number one, I know that there's a solution out there. It's a challenge, but I'm going to find it because of SIT and because I'm going to use innovative solutions that are at my fingertips. So again, no questions. Thank you for being here. Please reach out to me. We'd love to schedule a meeting with you. This is like my greatest, I really get energy from doing this. So, if you do have any need of helping either with your school, your company, your nonprofit, like this is just really what I enjoy doing. So please reach out and thank you so much. I'm so excited to connect with you guys further.